How's it going, family? Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today's motivational vitamin is going to be about keeping the faith and staying on the grind and ignoring the naysayers, guys. Don't worry about what other folks have to think about you or have to say about you. You keep doing you. So in this journey to financial freedom and generational wealth, you're going to experience so many instances of people thinking you're crazy. The decisions that you're making in life, not wanting to have the herd mentality, not wanting to be, in the groupthink mentality, charting your own path, doing your own thing. People are going to look at you like you're just crazy, like you're an outcast. And that's okay, guys. That's all right. Because in this life, when you're trying to create generational wealth and pave that path for financial freedom for you and your family, you're going to have to learn how to ignore those distractions. You're going to have to learn how to ignore those things that don't align with your values, because in this life, you have only one life to live. So anything in life that you do that has a great reward is always going to come with some trials and tribulations. It's never going to be something that is just straightforward and it's just easy overnight success. Look at Michael Jordan, or for that matter, look at LeBron James, or any popular celebrities or singers, musicians, athletes, anybody that has acclaimed an enormous amount of status in life. Superstar, Usher, Beyonce, all of those people. If you were to have a time capsule to go back and look at the beginning of their lives and play that tape, play that movie from the past to the present, you will see that they endured so many things in their life that probably, I would say, would have made anybody want to just give up and quit. But if your goal is to be successful in life and your goal is to create generational wealth, you're going to have to put tough skin on. Can't even get my words out, guys, but put tough skin on. You're going to have to get in a mentality that everybody is not going to agree with your point of view about money. Everybody is not going to agree with your point of view about crypto. Everybody is not going to agree with your point of view about day trading. Everybody is not going to agree with your point of view about anything that you may decide you want to do. You know why? Because you are the chosen one. You are different. And in this life, you have to put on the mindset that you can care less about what other people think, because you are the one that is responsible for making your path to success. Now, on this channel, we always like to give you ideas and put that little bug in your ear to help you to see that there's more to life than a 9-to-5 job. Now, I've had a 9-to-5 job 20 years plus. A lot of you out there that's watching this content have worked, 20 years, maybe 30, maybe 40. My audience is a wide array of age groups or age ranges, so hopefully what I'm saying will apply to you in your situation. But if you go back and you look at all of these people that have become successful, we don't see all of the trials and tribulations that they had to go through. But if you were able to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them, or be able to talk with them and pick their brains about the things that they've gone through, I'm pretty sure they'll have a lot of stories to tell you. And in fact, a lot of stuff to tell you that you can make probably a blockbuster movie off of the situations they've incurred in life. When you make this applicable to your 9-to-5 job, you get in this habit of clocking in or clocking out. If you're on an hourly wage or if you're on a salary, it's still kind of similar, because you're expected to arrive at a certain time and then do your task and then leave after that time has elapsed. But you get in this whole thing called herd mentality, groupthink, where all of the things you're doing is just repetitive. You're just going in, doing your tasks, going out to lunch, gossiping. Yeah, I said gossip because y'all know y'all be out there gossiping. Just be honest, tell the truth. But going to work, doing your thing, leaving, And it's just get into this mindset where everything is on repeat, just over and over and over again. And then you look around and 10, 15 years have passed and you wonder, you say, wait a second, what have I done with my life? I've been so focused on carrying out what I've been programmed to do in my life, which is working a 9 to 5 and being a good worker, being a good worker bee, being a good listener, being a good follower, being a good employee, being someone who doesn't buck the trend or rock the boat. But then also oftentimes when, retirement comes upon us, we have a sense of regret because we start to think about all the things that we could have done and chose not to do, things we could have been that for some reason or another we did not become. For example, when a child is born and they're old enough to talk and they go on into elementary school, oftentimes we always ask the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's funny because what you'll notice is with those kids, oftentimes they want to be president. They want to be everything. And what we tell them is the sky's the limit. You can be whatever you want to be. My question to you is, knowing that, what I just said, why is it that as children, as babes, we have these grand, enormous ideas about the things we want to be in life? But yet, when we become adults and reality sets in, all of that energetic positivity and hope that we had is somehow mysteriously disappeared. And, we get to the stage where we go to college and those things, and half the time we don't even know what we want to do when we get to college. We just know that college is what we're supposed to do. So we just take it upon ourselves to just go on to college and we figure it out as we go along. And so what happens is we go to college and we get this degree, whether it be marketing, finance, computer information systems, anything like that. It doesn't even matter. But whatever it is, we decide to get those degrees. And oftentimes we graduate and we end up in a field other than what we went to college for. Guys, we have been programmed by society to think that in order to be successful in this life, we have to follow the herd mentality. We can't think for ourselves. For example, oftentimes when we tell our parents or we tell a loved one, hey, think about it. You're graduating high school and they say, what college are you going to go to? That's the first thing they say. What college are you going to go to? And you say you're going to go to XYZ college, and what you going to major in? Well, I'm not sure. Either the answer is going to be I'm not sure, or it's going to be something like business finance or something like that. It's probably going to be a STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, somewhere up in there, related degree. You would probably get a positive response from those people. But on the contrary, if you were to respond to that question about what would you do, what are you going to do when you graduate, since you were getting your diploma, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to college, the military? And you choose to say, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to do my own thing. I guarantee you 90% out of 100% of the times, people's response will be as follows. Wow, it's hard to start a business. Do you think you have what it takes? How are you going to get the money? How are you going to get the funding? How are you going to get customers? Do you have the skill set? Why is it that we've been programmed to think that in this life, whenever we want to start our own businesses or whenever we want to do something that's going against the herd mentality, that it's a strange idea, it's a weird idea? Let me tell you this, guys. In this life, and I'm old enough to have experienced this, but I'm going to give you this advice. In this life, if you're doing something that brings you great joy, it's providing a living for you and your family, or if you're single, for yourself, and you enjoy doing that thing, as long as it's legal, you should continue to do that, guys. You should follow your heart. Now, it has to make sense. Now, I'm not saying to go and become, and there's no knock against this profession, but a painter, for instance, and you want to make $100,000 a year and you want to go be a painter or something like that. I'm not saying that profession doesn't make that amount of money, but my point is you have to do stuff that's within reason, guys. And what I've learned in my years on this earth is usually what everybody is doing is not the path you should follow to financial freedom. You have to do the opposite. It's just like this, guys. If you come out with a business and there are other businesses that are doing the same thing that your business is doing, what is going to be so unique to your business that's going to bring you customers that's different than the other business that's doing the same thing? So even when you're starting your business, you have to think outside the box. You have to think in terms of what value can I offer? What is my value proposition to show the customers that they should come to me and give me their business? So it's the same thing, guys, in this life. The path to creating generational wealth and financial freedom for you and your family is going to be the path that's going to be different than than the herd, than the folks that always are followers and not trendsetters. I always talk about crypto on this channel. I always talk about day trading, things of that nature. You know, people have their points of views on, crypto, and a lot of people think that, it's a scam and those things like that. But they're beginning to see quickly, very, very quickly here, that they're quickly missing the boat, guys, on that new asset class of crypto. And, we did a video previously, a little while ago, where we talked about why day trading and investing in crypto actually is your way out to financial freedom faster than you might think compared to the 9-to-5 job. And that's because those assets provide you with a lot more upside than you would typically get in your 9-to-5 job. Because the rule of thumb is you're not going to make more money than your boss makes. That's just not going to happen. That's the reason they're the boss and you are the worker. So guys, I just want you to just think to yourself, whenever you're feeling down, if you're on your crypto journey now, if you're on your day trading journey, I just want you to remember these words. Whenever you feel down and you feel like you want to give up and quit, you feel like it just ain't working out for you, think about what the alternatives are. What are the alternatives? 9-to-5 job. That's exactly what your alternatives would be. So, in everything in life, there's risk. There's risk starting your own business. That's a true statement. But there's also risk in working a 9-to-5 job. And again, I'm not knocking a 9-to-5 job. I'm just laying out the facts here to show you that you have to start thinking outside the box in order to reach the goal of financial freedom. But like I said before, there's risk in anything you do. There's risk in having a 9-to-5 job, and there's risk in starting your own business. But a lot of people think that the risk is greater starting your own business than working a 9-to-5. But I beg to differ. That 9-to-5 job is secure so long as it's there. But once you get noticed that you're no longer needed and you're laid off, all of a sudden that 9-to-5 becomes unsecure. And all of these thoughts come in your mind like, man, what I'm going to do. And there comes a point in life where you see the economy, you see all of the layoffs happening, and you put yourself out there to find a job, and you see that there's no one calling you back. You're not getting any kind of interviews because it's so many people being laid off with high skill sets that the competition is fierce. And it comes a point where you're like, you know what? Even if I applied to another job and you get that job, it's the same song and dance, just a different sheet of music. It's the same dance, guys, just a different sheet of music. You know why I say that? I say that because whenever you're working for someone else, they're going to look out for them. They're going to look out for their bottom line, their company. They're going to look out for their shareholders. They're going to look out for their initiatives. They're going to look out for what they want to do in their business. Only you will take care of you better than anybody else. Just remember those words, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll come back to you guys with some more bangers soon. Y'all take care.